Regarding combat
making me hungry.
mechanics, as I understand, it's not going to be a holy trinity, so no dedicated healer class. So say everyone has some small ability to heal themselves. But from what I see in the demo of the screenshots of the gameplay, it looks like there's going to be a large dodge mechanic then as far as defending yourself. Well, a lot of my friends and players, I'm going to say this politely, are older and did not grow up playing action games. So am I just going to have to tell them maybe this game's not for them?
So that's a good question. So we obviously need to strike a very good balance between the active movement-based and the moment-to-moment dodging of things. And still, we're still working a lot of those details out. But I think that the happy medium that we strike will appeal to all the players in the audience. So
we're not going to build a game that supports one-button macroing.
for sure.
So you will definitely have to be more active than that. But even in EverQuest 2, if you're not one-button macroing, you're still usually pretty active. Even if you're standing in one spot, you're still busy doing other things. You're watching a million things. You're making sure your buffs are still going. You're doing all these kinds of different things. That's activity. Those are decisions that you're making on a rapid base. You should expect to have some level of interactivity like that in any game. And whether we do those exact same mechanisms or not, you're still going to be an active player. That's what a game is.
Right. I mean, even in the most static, massively multiplayer game, you are generally engaged in the activity of watching your hot buttons refresh and then stabbing them at the most efficient opportunity. And that is one thing that I can promise you are not going to be doing in this game. So if that's the sort of gameplay you're looking for, you are looking in the wrong place.
Jeff, you play games different than I do. I don't stab my keyboard.
He's an angry gamer.
Yeah. Yeah, we will getting everyone up and looking at what's going on the screen and enjoying the process of playing the game.
I have a question about you. You know how it's been said, you guys said that when you create orcs, you kind of just release them out onto this world. I'm wondering if the same is true for like wild animals.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
for sure.
Most certainly it is.
Think of an ecology that you would see anywhere else, right? The bears are going to be tracking down the deer, and the hunters are going to be doing that as well. So NPCs are moving around the world and doing stuff.
What's true of the baker is true of the rabbit, the wolf, the orc.
The candlestick maker.
Hello again.
Yes.
Hi.
The dragon.
I know you can't really talk about PvP right now, but I was wondering if you could at least tell us if there are systems in place that are specifically designed for PvP or around PvP.
Yeah, unfortunately, the answer to that question is the same that it has been before. We're just not ready to talk about it.
Yeah. I mean,
We certainly have talked about it a lot.
Certainly have
but
talked about a lot of
It's
it.
not packaged up with a bow
planning.
yet.
Yeah, we don't want to give you the impression that we're putting you off or that we haven't done all that work.
I mean, my God, how could we have destructibility without talking about PvP?
Yeah.
First of all, thank you everyone for all your time and effort and sacrifice that you put into this game so far.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Great. Thank you.
Conversely, I would imagine that everyone here took time off from work, or either legitimately or questionable, like, you know, dead grandma or maybe a 4-day virus. In addition, they've, you know, myself included, saved for months just to come to this event. Overtime, begging, shift swaps, possibly collecting cans to get money to come here, that sort of thing. That being said, will the attendees of this event have something to look forward to, like, say, I don't know, a guaranteed invite into the beta for their personal sacrifice?
Is Omid here?
Omid is not here, but I know the
Is
answer.
Omid here? Oh, yeah. You wanted to answer that?
Come on, Omid. Everybody
putting you on
meet
the spot?
Omid Dariani,
Because if you're not ready
the
with an
guy
answer,
who's going
that's
to
okay.
answer this question for you.
Oh, I'm always involved. Hi, folks. Thanks for coming out and all the great questions. Right now, we haven't announced that, as you've heard many, many times today. But You guys are our best customers, and we love you, so we're always going to take care of you.
I'd like to apologize for putting Omid on the spot. Omid is our brand manager, and he controls all things on that front. And so if anybody had an answer, it was going to be him. But obviously, you'll get the answer later.
I have a question related to the interaction between trade skilling or crafting and the server that I have totally forgotten the name of, the game that precedes EverQuest Next. Landmark, that's
Landmark,
it.
yeah.
How closely are crafting and Landmark related? And for instance, are you going to be able to create things like a leather tent, and you have to hunt down a deer to get that leather for that leather tent?
Yeah, so I mean, one of the panels we just had talked about that. You definitely craft. You're going to craft everything in the game. If you want an obsidian couch, you've got to go get the obsidian and make the couch. Oh, that's a great question. So we haven't announced all the features of Landmark, and being able to build things out of leather is one of the things that we definitely want to have, and we'll release more information in the future.
1 second. We have to give away another Nagathan hat.
Okay.
So that I don't forget. Let's get this away from
20 minutes.
Jeff before it disappears.
Yeah.
I don't mind being considered a villain.
So, well, you don't mind being considered one? Everybody knows you're one. No. Okay. So we're making this up on the spot. So I put Dave up on the hot seat for the last question, and I'll do the same thing to myself. I've been with the company for a while. Some of you may know me from previous games. Do any of you know what my character name was in EverQuest? Whoa. No. I'm disappointed. Yeah, you're not allowed to. No. No. Wrong game.
Wrong game.
Nice. Let's see. What do we know? What do we know about Rosie? Okay, this is one that you guys should know. We're going to pick on Rosie here. Based on Rosie's Twitter handle, what is her alternate occupation?
Oh.
Oh, excellent.
Come on, you got to know what her Twitter handle is. We got it right here. My second wife? Oh, no.
Interesting. Nice theory. Reporter?
Close enough.
Journalist?
A rap artist. She's Rosie Rap. Come on. You didn't know this, Jeff? Or Dave? I don't even know who I work for now. Sorry.
Give it to someone else.
All right. Anybody got any ideas? Questions for the people to answer?
Let's see here.
Ask an EQ question.
Yeah, some cool EQ question.
Yeah.
Jeff, how's your play?
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah, we've
pretty
talked
well
about that
known.
all weekend.
Oh,
Come on, Jeff.
We got a question out there.
You got to. Oh yeah, no, that's not allowed. You're his brother, okay? You know the answer to this question.
Yes.
Anything, Jeff? Come on, EQ question.
EQ lore question.
Is Bill in here?
Okay, I've got a.
NPC.
Ooh.
Which NPC has the highest kill rating of any of them at the beginning of EverQuest 2?
Oh wow. I don't know the answer to that question. I'm not getting this hat.
Got nothing.
Let's see.
Brian, you got a mic. You know EQ. Give us an EQ question. You're the
They're
Lord
going to be
guy.
too easy or way too hard, probably.
So aim in the middle.
Keep asking until somebody gets.
How about this? I've got one.
All right.
What NPC dropped the thick banded belt? No. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
The Frogluck supplier was
Yeah.
apparently
Lower
the
duck.
answer to the question.
Good stuff.
Well
Had
done.
Plus like 8 strength on it or something. It was great.
So apparently the hardest design challenge we've faced in a long time is
long time.
asking a question at a panel.
Yes.
No, it's how to give away a Nagafin hat.
We're only good at giving answers, not questions.
Coming up with a question was not in my best interest.
Yes, he didn't want one because he wanted to steal the hat.
Oh,
Great.
look, no one got the hat.
Here we go. Sorry for the delay.
In regards to the concept of the rallying calls, everything you have where the world is kind of building itself and ever changing and that action doesn't get repeated again, does this add design challenges that you're coming across, and the idea that as you come up with ideas and you use them, they can't be used again in that same fashion? Players have experiences that people don't have or maybe miss it if they're out for a couple of months. And how are you looking at addressing those types of challenges?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first part of the question. Can you repeat that? Not the whole thing. I got the last part of it.
Well, just the whole thing kind of wraps around the idea that rallying calls and all those types of quests, once they happen and the world changes, the next one's going to have to be different. It can't be the same thing over again.
Oh, you mean like we would just keep building city after city after city? Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, we have a bevy of things that we're not going to tell you today because it would spoil things. And you build stuff, and you destroy stuff, and you fight stuff, and there's all the typical things that you would expect to do as part of an evolving world. You'll be doing those things, and it'll be cyclical. You definitely won't be repeating over and over again the same process.
So, and I think you were curious as to the design challenges associated with that stuff. There are design challenges, to be certain, but they are analogous to the challenges that have already existed in MMOs as we've stepped through the process of expanding them. We're effectively automating that process based on the knowledge that we've gained, for instance, in Ryan's case, working on 13 EverQuest expansions. Rallying calls kind of assume that sort of content within themselves, if that helps with clarity.
And keep in mind that the same mechanisms can be really and obviously the same mechanisms through different stories and different conditions that advance the rallying call and so on and so forth. There won't be any lather, rinse, repeat kind of situations.
Right. Just to clarify, because I was a little confused on the question, so I clarified with the gentleman. It's about the question of what about the content that people have missed because they took a time away from the game during a rallying call. And are we going to have mechanisms for dealing with that or addressing that?
So
that was more of what the question was about.
We have discussed that in detail, and that's a great question.
Yep.
We're not quite ready to talk to you about the specifics.
There's a lot of variables with that, guys. So, I mean, we don't want to not answer you, but there's a lot of factors to be weighed. So.
All right, so I've got 194 questions from Reddit, but I understand I can only answer, or ask one rather. So the top question on Reddit right now is for me to ask about racism. Specifically, ask if NPCs and or entire towns of humans will kill you on sight for being a dark elf and vice versa.
Oh, KOS races?
Yeah, good question. So I think we answered something similar to this the other day, and it just touches on the stuff we've already talked about. We aren't going to release the details of the lore, but when you log into the game, orcs won't like you, and they'll kill you. That's a race in the game. What you do will determine what the races do and how they view you. So, without giving away spoilers to how the story works, the answer is you will be KOS to some people, some races for sure.
Will those be races that other players are a part of?
Right.
And that's the answer we can't give you.
That's the answer that we can give you right now. Right?
Yeah. This goes back to that maybe.
Yes.
Maybe
is an answer.
Be maybe.
Okay, well, first of all, you guys need a friendlier method to get up here for people with moving issues. But you're talking about with the lore panel, all the different things, and you want stories and such like that. Have you guys considered player-contributed stories, such as through Kindle Worlds?
That's a great question. Yeah. I'm going to defer to Terry or Dave for that one.
Well, I mean, the answer is that in as many ways as possible, we want to involve the community in our games. And the specifics for something like that will have to come out at a later time as we've determined the feasibility of things like that. Sorry. Hold on.
That, I mean, that is another to be discussed in the future.
Oh, man, I want to tell you.
Yeah. I mean, I think you can all
Keeps
all
biting
see
us.
as people think of logical extrapolations about what we've talked about, right? We've got a lot of ground to cover over the course of the next couple months. We're going to do that.
Right.
We commit to the process of communication with you, hopefully in ways that you've never seen before. We've talked about it several times throughout the course of the weekend. We will follow through. You'll see that. And we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. You're asking us questions about it.
We're really serious about you guys helping us build the world. That's as much as we can say right
Really
now.
serious. So without answering,
Really,
answer.
really serious.
How's it going, guys? My name's Paul.
Hey, Paul.
I've been playing EverQuest since I was 12 years old. Been playing a long time with all my buddies. We've gotten used to, playing with groups, having, lots of friend connections in the game. That being said, having 40 different classes and you being able to change whenever you want. Granted, it might be hard to get each of them, but once you get them, does that mean that the game is going to be more solo-based because you can just change to something that you need to be to complete something? Rather than need your
no.
friends?
I mean, we certainly have content that will require you to be with other people. No, totally. So we talked about rallying calls as one of the pieces of content, and we've mentioned, Dungeons and Raids in some of the panels. There's group content out there. It requires a group. Doesn't matter how many classes you can collect. You're still only one dude.
It's a great question, right? In all of our panels and in the debut, we focus specifically upon what's new and what's different about EverQuest Next and EverQuest Next Landmark. We have not necessarily spent a lot of time talking to you about what is the same, right? There's a lot that is the same. And one of those things are the mechanisms that allow people to create and perpetuate social bonds so that the critical mass that we gain in whatever way related to the game that we're building remains, so that you can entice your friends based on the enjoyment you're having in the game. You can get them to come and join and then stick around, so you don't have to worry about who you're going to be grouping with next week. This is literally, consider it, Dave talks about his grails, right? There's lots of hidden grails, and the community is one of them, right? Everything that we're doing, our entire focus is driven toward building that community and keeping it.
Yeah.
Yep.
You may not look for a specific class to help you overcome a challenge, but you will be looking for good players.
Right.
Skilled players, people who care about their game, who invest time in the game, who are fun to hang around with, who have great emotes. I mean, literally, we're trying to give every tool in the toolbox to people to reach out and find those folks who they share like interest with, and to form those in-game relationships.
Yeah. Yeah, social interactions and social bonds are extremely important for MMO. They're the backbone of what an MMO is. And we do that. We take that filter when we're looking at everything and how it's going to promote that sort of thing.
Just because I highly doubt any game's ever going to be as hard as EverQuest 1 to get to the top.
Well, yeah, EverQuest is probably the best example I can think of promoting social interaction and social bonds. I mean, more so than any game I've seen in the last decade. I think that's accurate.
Yeah, I mean, our goal is the same. It's just our mechanisms might be different.
Yep. But certainly our understanding of interdependence and the need for your fellow community members couldn't be stronger.
Yep, sure.
So with all this construction that's eventually going to be happening all over the world, is there going to become a time when the orcs are like, we have nowhere left to, should we just go back to Crushbone? I mean, are we just going to hang out in there? Or can we maybe go back and get an army and take down all these houses? Get rid of this neighborhood of all these players?
Sounds like it would be fun.
So
interesting ideas.
That's a good. I mean, what you touched on is if we allowed all of the players to build all over the place, then yeah, the AI would do that. You've described a situation that would force them back to their homeland.
It's like if I made an alt, would he too then be able to make a house, and then I could just keep creating alts, making more houses, and then just make this whole big army of houses, and nothing can be there anymore.
Right.
Well, EverQuest Next will have mechanisms that prevent you from just doing that kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah, and as far as the orcs go, yeah, you might push them back for a while, but eventually, like I mentioned in the debut, they don't like getting their butts kicked, and they're probably going to have some mechanisms to come back at you.
Right.
Yeah. And just for reference, we have about 7 minutes left, so.
So we were talking at the Golden Age panel about how everyone's got their role. You have your adventurers, you have your harvesters, you have your traders. Everyone wants to do something. In EverQuest, you had every class had some sellable ability. Wizards could port.
Oh, sure.
Things like that. Do you guys plan to carry that over and take it with you into EverQuest next?
That's a great question that I don't have an answer to. But I mean, the idea of transport and the abilities that are actually commodities is a great thing to bring to Roundtable, right? The desire that players have to market themselves as adventurers is certainly something that was very powerful in EverQuest. So we'd be silly not to have stuff like that. It's a great idea.
And we do have a pretty good understanding of that interdependence. A lot of people on the team now are actually the engineers of that interdependence, and so. You can imagine, like every other feature that we look at and draw upon, those things that have value, those things that help us build the community are certainly on the table for consideration.
Yep.
All the current games on the market have a set of progression. You go from 1 to 50, have all your abilities, then you grind away gear. EverQuest has always been about customization. Are we going to see alternate advancement points? Alternate advancements at all?
So that's a good question, because while we don't have AAs, we certainly have what we would consider to be alternate advancement. The game, as you know, one of the slides that actually we didn't have time for in the class panel talked about horizontal progression and a desire for us to expand outward. The AA system allowed you as a max level player or a high level player in EverQuest to expand your horizons, to get new features for your class, etc. That's really what our game is about, through the multi-class system, through being able to collect classes and be able to expand each of those. And when we say that, you know, tiering up your class, and depending on how much time that takes, is only the first step, because you got to find, assuming you want to engage in any multi-class building, you got to find the right items for the class. You've got to find
invest in the skills.
Right. There's a lot of time spent there that is very similar to what the AA system was. So.
It fills that niche, in other words.
Yes.
At least in what we've discussed so far.
As a trade skiller, I really like the idea of the classes, being able to change classes in the combat system. But as a trade skiller, I want to make the best blueberry muffin there is, and I'm
the Muffin Man. Right. This is a great theme.
I'm working to build that blueberry muffin. Once when I get there, can I also build the best armor and then go and build the best sword? As a crafter,
you're going to really like the crafting stuff when we get to announcing it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really great stuff in it.
Yes, indeed.
I mean, but it's a complete separate subject. It would need its own panel, and we need time to put it together.
Yeah.
Sorry.
When we say we take crafting seriously, we take it very seriously, which is why we can't have a 5-minute conversation about it.
I've got 4 minutes left, guys.
At the debut, when they were showing the parkour style movement, the phrase that was used was, "You don't have to push any extra buttons." Between that and having 8 abilities, is there going to be gamepad support?
Is there going to be what?
Gamepad support for the PC.
That's a
certainly desired.
Yeah.
We're building a PC game first.
Right.
We're going to get all the kinks worked out and stuff like that using traditional keyboard and mouse. And then after we're done with that, then we'll look at other platforms and other options as far as peripherals and stuff go. You know, the Oculus version is going to be... No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Oculus version confirmed?
But
No.
yeah, I mean, we're going to look into all that stuff later on.
Hello. This is related to construction, home, and possibly NPCs. Say, for example, you're making a house 2-story, whatever, or like a port city or something. Is it possible to attach a business to it, like say a tavern for the house or a docks for the port city or something like that?
That'd be really cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
Well played, sir.
Yes.
Well played.
you have good ideas. You have good ideas. Please engage in the roundtable.
Yes. Please.
Got it. Regarding factioning or its equivalent in the emergent AI, to what extent will it shut players off from content? For example, if me and my guildies start up in Kinos and do like good Kinusians and clear out knolls nearby, but one of our guilty friends does what he always does with his character, which is kill merchants and sell the loot to the knolls. Is he going to be shut out from questing with us because he's not going to be able to come into Kinos or share our quests or anything? Unless, of course, he...
You know, you really shouldn't be associated with that person.
Yeah,
they're not
very nice.
I'm saying, is there be no place for them him in our guild because he can't quest with us?
So great question. One of the things that we want you to be able to play how you want and who you want with the friends that you have. So having locked in exclusivity for I can't go to Kinos anymore would be difficult. There's a balance to be struck there, and it's something that we're still working through. So that's a great question.
Well, and remember that the game remembers the things that you've done, and it impacts the world around you. We want you to be making choices that matter. And so, there are going to be consequences for the choices of your friend that are going to be different than the consequences for the actions you choose to partake in.
The fact is your character made choices, and there are consequences.
But in Quest 2, say you're never locked out of a signature quest or heritage quest, no matter what you start.
Welcome to EverQuest Next.
Yeah, it'll be. We got to have a balance, so we'll work on that.
One of my most treasured moments in early EverQuest was taking an adventure down a path in Greater Fate Arc and not knowing where I was going at all. What type of map system are you guys going to have? And will it have waypoints and hand-holding or not at all?
The first maps we're concentrating on are for Landmark.
Right.
And then the features and stuff that we develop through that system will probably propagate over to EQN.
Well, and some of the things that we've said a number of times is that we want players playing our game, not reading about our game, not looking on a wiki, not being handheld through the game, but actually playing the game. It's important to us throughout many aspects of the game.
Yeah, we don't want people alt-tabbing out of the game to read a map that shows them where they're trying to find something.
With the focus on the social interaction, are you looking at building in tools that allow people to share their social moments, capture video, share screenshots, but integrate it directly into the game so that we can tell these stories and keep these memories, but while we're adventuring, it's not something we do separately?
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's the way to answer that question.
I mean, there's so much. The world has embraced social media in such a big way that we'd be foolish not to have the ability for you to share these things with people who weren't online. You to record these moments and share them with your friends who weren't even playing the game.
And you can see some of that support already in PlanetSide 2, and we'll have more.
Yep.
Creating and sharing your own story is what this game is about.
Our company is committed to that course of action.
You're going to have unique stories. It would be cool to share them.
Yep.
Any consideration or thought into offline gameplay, like vendors or owner NPCs or harvesters or anything like that that would... I think it's a lot of fun to be able to leave, come back, and see what you got, or what when you log back in, or what's there other than just what items are on the marketplace.
So the extent of all that stuff, we aren't talking about in detail, but we did mention that, for Landmark, being able to queue the things that you want to do, queue the things that you want to see in an offline manner, view the stuff, and say, okay, tonight I've got a laundry list of things that I want to go see and check out based on these builders, based on the people I'm subscribed to, etc. So offline gameplay is really cool, right? So we want to support that to some extent.
But some of the stuff that you may be used to being offline may not be offline because we want more active participation in the game. So we're definitely taking a new approach to it. Or sorry, a different approach to it than we've done in the past.
Yeah. So that's the end of the questions. Our time is up, and unfortunately, we're going to have to ask everybody to leave relatively quickly. Don't hurt anybody, please. They need to get this set up for the banquet, so they're waiting for us to be done. But don't leave just yet. One quick second. Now that we're done with all of the panels for EQ Next, we appreciate all of everybody coming to the panels, asking their questions, listening to what we have to say. But we are very serious about being involved in the development of this game with you guys. Please go to the website. Please take a look at, I believe we already have 4 questions on Roundtable for people to look at and respond to and go to the forums and talk about. And every other week, we'll be releasing additional topics that we want to hear from you on. So please continue to give us feedback, continue to talk to us, and together we will make something that is incredible and that you've never seen before, or at least that's our hope. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
See everybody at the banquet.
Thank you very much.